Welcome back. My guest today is Mathieu McDonald from RavenQuest. Welcome to the show, Mathieu.
Good to be here. Thank you, Mark.
Let's jump right in. You're a big partner in innovation with McGill in cannabis. Can you touch on some of the work you're doing with McGill?
Yeah, so I think it's important to realize that the legal cannabis space, we're really only in around the first or second inning when it comes to understanding of the plant. Because this plant has been illegal to possess and cultivate here in Canada for over 100 years, it's been virtually impossible to do any real meaningful research, scientific research, into the plant itself and how to produce a plant that can consistently express in a very repeatable fashion, so that the patients and consumers know exactly what to expect from their product. We are very cognizant of that at RavenQuest, and as a science and innovative company, we partnered with McGill when we first started trading publicly a couple of years ago. So we've identified out some very interesting aspects called beneficial microbes, which are really a natural way to stress the plant in a positive way. So we've been working on that at McGill University. It appears when you look at the Health Canada license page that McGill has now actually received its cultivation and production and possession license for the cannabis plant itself. So we're now going to be able to take that knowledge that we've been garnering over the last couple or 3 years with McGill University and apply that directly to the cannabis plant. And we're really excited to really move that to the final stages, identifying out those beneficial microbes which can stress the cannabis plant very positively, and I'd be happy to talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The live microbes, can you elaborate a little bit more about how these can benefit the plant?
So live microbes are essentially, right now, looking at the way cannabis has been produced outside the legal realm, it's actually in order to generate a plant that can produce high levels of THC, which is a very popular area in the recreational market right now.
People do like a lot of THC in their plants, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So the high THC plants have been bred over a long period of time, many generations, to generate that high THC. But what those plants are doing is actually giving up some of their defense mechanisms in order to apply more energy to generate more THC. And that's why in many cases these plants can be more susceptible to things like powdery mildew and other pathogens that can enter into the grow room and infect the plant itself. In many cases outside the legal market, what you're forced to do is use pesticides and things like that in order to protect the plant. What RavenQuest is doing with McGill is we've identified natural ways using what you had described and what we described as live microbes in order to introduce into the nutrient system, and the plant can defend itself against these diseases and pathogens in a natural way without using GMO or without using pesticides. And really that is a huge market, not only in the cannabis space, but as well throughout the entire agricultural industry. The live microbes market is about a $3 billion per year industry right now worldwide. And wow, that's estimated to grow into a $12 billion per year industry worldwide by 2026. So RavenQuest is cognizant of that. We have identified these microbes in our research with McGill University, and we will own those microbes, which will be available to us in our cultivation, and we can also license that out as a revenue source worldwide in the cannabis space and beyond the cannabis space as well. So very exciting news as we move forward with our research partnership with McGill.
It sounds really exciting. So you'll be able to take these live microbes and basically license them out. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, we will own those microbes, so that will be a revenue source for RavenQuest, absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about your joint venture with BioCare. That's recent news, am I right? Happened a little over a week ago?
Yeah, so last time we spoke here on the Midas Letter, we were hoping to get across the finish line with a definitive agreement with our partners BioCare to develop a joint venture for expansion into the European marketplace. And since that time, we have signed that joint venture agreement. We announced that about a week and a half ago. very positive news, because now RavenQuest is able to move forward with BioCare and start working on developing our facility, building our facilities in the 2 sites that we have picked out in Portugal. So we're expanding now. What that means for the marketplace, for the European marketplace, and for RavenQuest and our shareholders is 35,000 kilos per year of annual production out of our Portugal facilities within the next 18 to 24 months as we complete those facilities. That's a huge expansion for RavenQuest, because we get 50% of that, which means 17,500 additional kilos of annual production on a non-dilutive basis, as BioCare brings all of the funding for that joint venture partnership, and we bring what we've talked about before, the Orbital Gardens and all the grow technology, and of course the live beneficial microbes, which was something that BioCare was extremely interested in when we first started chatting about entering into the joint venture, which we now have with BioCare.
Well, it sounds like a great deal, and you also have some technology that I believe is unique to your company, the Orbital Gardens. Can you touch on, I know I've seen some videos and I'd love to see it live, but can you speak to the Orbital Gardens and what that means?
So obviously, square footage, licensed square footage in Canada in the legal space is extremely valuable and hard to get your hands on as a licensed producer. So throughout the first sort of run up in the cannabis market, many players talked about the idea of having massive amounts of square footage, whether it be greenhouse or whatever, and that was a really interesting sort of run up in the cannabis marketplace. RavenQuest took a different approach, and what we do is we actually use the cubic footage of the room. So we're talking about plants revolving around a light and then stacked up 3 high and 2 wide. So actually when you unroll those tubes that the plants grow inside, and add up all that square footage, that surface area, we're able to fit over 500 square feet of grow space onto a 65 square foot footprint. So think about a space about the size of a parking space. We fit 500 square foot of grow space on that, using 65% less power, 90% less nutrients, and dripping 0 water to waste. So the Orbital Gardens are also automated, so we can control all the aspects of that plant's life inside those Orbital Gardens with precision from outside the grow room, using only 2 individuals to control the entire facility. So this is an efficient way to grow. It's a way that we can control the plant's environment and deliver consistent plant material for consumers and patients. And obviously, we think this is a disruptive technology. We've now started populating our Edmonton facility, which actually has the Orbital Gardens throughout the facility, with plant material. And so we have now proven out that technology, and we're really excited to both use that and ramp up our production here in Canada as well as overseas in Europe to the tune of, as I said, 35,000 kilograms of annual capacity out of Portugal within the next 18 to 24 months.
Well, you're clearly a leader in technology and innovation with your research partnership with McGill. What else are you looking forward to in the next months to come?
Well, as I said, the Canadian facility here in Canada, our Edmonton facility, is now ramping up production very rapidly. And just in the coming weeks and perhaps months, what RavenQuest is excited about is discussions that we're having with other parties outside of our existing supply agreements, both at the provinces, some of the major English-speaking provinces in Canada. We're looking to get some supply agreements across the finish line, hopeful to bring that to the market in the near term. So that's something that we're very excited about. And of course, now that the joint venture has been signed, we are moving forward rapidly to begin construction overseas in Portugal again to expand capacity to 35,000 kilos annually.
Well, I'm very excited for what's to come, and we'll keep watching the stock. And thanks so much for your time, Mathieu. Appreciate having you on the show.
Great to be with you. Thank you, Mark. Have a great day.